We are live, RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. Back at it again. And I'm noticing a trend of mainstream articles that happen to be about the word cash. And I think it's all in preparation for what will eventually be rolled out and will take us further in the direction that I believe all this is actually heading towards. So I want to talk about that this evening and basically get your guys' thoughts on it, share some of my thoughts, as well as share some articles and just lay out somewhat of a dive further rather into the blueprint of what they would like for us to have. When I say they, those that are orchestrating this global collapse right now. And so definitely, as I've always mentioned before, it's no coincidence that this health scare happens to be the icing on the cake, but the cake in and of itself was already ready to come down. And it happens to be because of too much debt and just this current debt cycle running its course. And so we're literally 107 years into this central banking debt-based model. And so it basically has ran its course. And now it's time to reboot the system and take us into something new. And I believe cash will not be a part of that equation. So let's check in. Let me check in with the chat, and then I'm going to share some articles, share my thoughts. As always, phone lines should be available. And give me a call and let me know what's in your thought, on your mind, as well as if there's anything else that you guys have come across today in the form of some type of news story that the community should hear about. Definitely let me know. And so we got Victoria says, want your money, you have to take the mark. It says, how else will they know who's who and where? Good point. I believe that's all a part of the equation. People are so gullible, they will voluntarily take the chip. Look at how we clamor for the newest devices. Yeah, and so on top of that, the way things are trending with technology, I don't think we actually have to. They may not even have to force whatever this technology might ultimately take us towards, because just look at our cell phones. Think about how naked we feel if we leave without our cell phone. And so all you have to do is link some type of electronic payment system and payment vehicle to something that we voluntarily choose to link ourselves with in the form of our cell phones. And then and there you have voluntary payless society right there, or cashless society, just because everybody can't really, for the most part, primarily function without their cell phone because it's become a part of who we are. So that's just a natural progression of technology. So I get where you're going, though. It says California going into full lockdown. Let's dive into that. And so what else we got? Final preparation now. If you haven't got it within 24 hours, you probably will have to do without. Yeah, I don't doubt it. It says, if you want a job, take the test. All right. So looks like we got a good amount of people in here. Let's dive into it. And so let me actually make sure everything is running on my end, because I have a tendency of being behind the curve myself. Dive into it. All right. So what I want to talk about tonight, because earlier today, if you didn't have a chance to watch the video I did with Daryl, but just I threw an article about something in the form of the narrative of this, the fear behind this current health situation makes it relatively easier to throw out articles such as what I want to share. And then also you factor in this current economic crisis where people are more interested in trying to get out of the system as much as they can out of fear of the system shutting down on them. And so it doesn't really take much now for people to realize that cash in this current moment, it might be somewhat the only thing that can be considered stable and a little bit of insurance, personal insurance that you might be able to have in your possession as things around you crumble. And so there's not much excitement in the metals right now, price wise. And then the crypto sector today starting to get a little bit of a little boom. But other than that, as you've been hearing about all the big money people talking about being cash. And of course, all the countries and all the institutions are strapped for cash. And so the Federal Reserve will make sure they do more than enough to provide liquidity. And then that's going to play into, I think a big reason as to why cash will become something that they do not and will not want savers to continue to maintain, because it's always viewed as your property when actuality does not belong to you. You're using it. And so it's one of those things where I think they want to basically start sowing the seeds now to get you used to the fact that pretty soon they don't want you to have cash. So they're going to throw out all types of articles. And of course, I came across an article talking about, cash hoarding. And so when they talk about hoarding, what happened to you actually wanting to go down to withdraw some of your account, and the only option you really have to get physical possession of it is paper. So how is that considered hoarding when you just want to hold what you think is yours? And so we're going to hear a lot more articles about hoarding and cash, and as these bank runs or potential bank runs pick up. So I want to get right into the very first article here, and then we can touch on anything else you guys have in mind. So this is the article that I kind of got this. Let me share my screen. This is the article where I pulled this idea of talking about cash tonight. And so the article earlier, I mentioned how Pennsylvania and all toll roads, for the most part, in certain states will be looking to no longer deal with cash. And I imagine maybe even coins. I'm not even sure. But I've heard more than enough stories now to really believe that there's a rush to get down to your local branch to get cash. But the problem is they don't really hold much physical paper in their vaults, just because over the last 15 to 20 years, especially as direct deposit has become a primary go-to for all corporations, that lessened their need for cash. And of course, that was all by design, to where automatically for most people it's directly deposited, which means that the goal started a long time ago of eliminating the desire for people to take a physical piece of paper down to the bank to cash it, to either leave some there, but more than likely when you go to cash your check back in the day, or still do now, you tend to withdraw a little something back. So that meant that banks had to keep cash on them. And that model is not what they want. So all it takes is just a little bit of phasing out, which they did. So here we are now. Majority of Europe don't use cash. Here in the US, people are starting to appreciate the use of cash right as it's going out the window. So here's an article here that I thought had a lot of good things in it. And it says here, US cash crisis, says withdrawal limits spark bank run fear. And then it gives some information here. It says, according to reports, Wall Street's elite have been trying to withdraw 30 to 50K per person as they flee the Hamptons. And so think about all the crisis hidden area, all the crisis struck in areas now. And so we got California on lockdown. So I imagine those banks are under a lot of pressure, amongst the fact that every bank is sending out some type of notification saying that due to the health scare and concern for our bankers or whatever, we're going to cut back hours and limit da. And so once again, it gives a reason as to why they can pose a problem with you being able to get your cash. And so just the idea that all the areas that are heavily impacted now, so West Coast especially, New York especially, and every other hot spot in this country that is already pretty much shut down and on the borderlines of probably having some type of governmental lockdown, stay in your house, don't come out, that's going to put a lot more strain on banks, because people are like, if I can't go outside the house, more than likely I probably won't be able to get physical cash when I need it. Let me go down to the bank right now. And so here we have the concerns of bank runs. And so I'd imagine there's more stories of banks right now that's probably rejecting people or turning people away and saying, hey, you got to order your cash. And so this is not something that they want the mainstream media to talk about. So this is an alternative media source here from Bitcoin.com. And it gives more information as to some stories. It says Chase is insolvent, bank run. And this is from some Twitter account. And then it says here, this is a Twitter from somebody. It says Bank of America is limiting cash withdrawals to 3,000. Expect that number to drop over the next few days. And this was as of the beginning of this week. And so mind you, as this crisis that we're in, both health and financial, escalates, there's going to be more cracking down on providing options out of a system where it's designed to keep you trapped in. And so I'll go a little bit more here, then I'll get into some other mainstream stories where the narrative is a little bit different. It says there are people complaining on the social media about withdrawal limits from certain banks in the U.S. over the last few days. Quote, go to the bank today and ask to withdraw your entire balance. One individual tweeted on March 17th. It says, quote, they are refusing to give out more than 5,000, even if your account has 20K. even if your normal withdrawal limit is 10,000 daily. It says on March 14th, a person from New York tweeted, quote, "Food chain is broken, went to Stop and Shop and shelves are empty, meat's gone, no more eggs, and the bank would only permit a 2,500 limit withdrawal per person or per day withdrawal." And so already, as I mentioned, in the crisis-stricken areas, the chance of you getting cash is not ideal. So think about this. Wherever area you're in now, if it's not really that bad, if it gets to the point where, you know, everything shuts down and the mayor or the governor tell everybody to stay in their house, think about these same type of stories popping up in your area. So what this is, if you're not in a crisis-stricken area that's major right now, if you have desire to get out what you think is yours, you know, assuming you probably already did that or not in a rush to get it all out now, but, you know, we can learn from these stories is what I'm getting at. So to keep it moving, let's go to the next article here. And so this here, let me see. This here is from CNN Business. It says, giving all U.S. adults cash could help stop a depression. And so I threw this out here just because giving everyone cash is not what they're actually going to do. They're not actually giving us cash, like the physical paper stuff. They're going to work out something, whether it be through the Treasury or through the IRS or through the Federal Reserve directly, however they're going to work it. But it's going to be a direct deposit into your account, more than likely. I doubt there will be no paper form of a check coming in the mail, I don't think, because that'll cost them too much. But they can easily just go to keyboard, type in some things, and hit enter, and it'll be some currency, some digital currency in your account. And so, once again, I thought this word was interesting because they're talking about giving cash. But one of my problems I have with this is that the last night I mentioned what Maxine Waters referenced about 3,000 for an adult and 1,000 for kids or something like that. But then here they're talking about, I read an article today says it's about 1,500 for an adult and 500 for a kid. And so my thing is, what will that do for anybody? Like, here you're talking about bailing out corporations and taking over pretty much ownership of corporations, giving them billions. You're talking about giving citizens $1,000, and then you're using the word cash. Like, you know, so they're using cash as a play on words, because when people read this, you think it in your mind, I'm getting cash, I'm getting some paper in my possession. When in actuality, you're only getting more than likely a automated deposit in your account that, mind you, if we get to the point wherever area you're in, if there's a lockdown, you can't actually, or you're not allowed to or not supposed to go out, then that means the bank will be closed, so you won't be able to go down and get cash. So something worth thinking about. A little play on words there. But as always, I'm ranting. Let me get to the chat real quick. If you guys have questions or thoughts, feel free to ask a question or whatnot, and I'll get to it right away. If not, you know, I tend to do it. I tend to rant until I can't stop no more. And so phone lines are as well are open. Feel free to give me a call, 313-462-0027. Would love to hear what you guys think about this cash situation, and then we could keep it moving. And let me see the next one here. And so this one here says, this is interesting, isn't it? It says, there's absolutely no reason to stock up on cash amid this health scare, an expert says. So once again, this is the mainstream narrative, trying to keep the calm. They don't want you to run down to the bank because that puts more pressure on the banks. At the same time that, all the too big to fail banks are, you know, doing what they're doing, and the Federal Reserve is being more than helpful to all those institutions. But once again, I don't think Uncle Sam or President Trump is going to really come to, you know, to provide as much liquidity as he's going to be providing those corporations. But I'll thumb through this briefly and find out what this expert says. Let me see here. It says there's no reason to stock up on cash. Expert says despite consumers hoarding. So once again, I said it just like when I started off, hoarding hard currency as a novel health scare spreads throughout the United States. So using the words hoarding, I remember, and I can't do it now, but I remember reading, going back to the archives, news. I enjoy history, so I love going back to read old news archives. And if you go to, let me see, I forgot what it was, but in reading up on in the 1960s, early 1960s, in the mainstream news then, they used the word hoarding as well. And they were using the word hoarding when they were talking about removing silver. And so the headlines was, people are hoarding silver. And I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson. Yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson. Yeah, doing it. Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, one of the presidents put a big write-up in all the papers nationwide saying that, we're going to overcome this. For all the citizens of the world think they can hoard silver and profit off of the whatever. We will make sure that we flood the market with silver so that it will not appreciate in value, whatever. But I'm thinking like, wow, you only hear the word hoarding when it's when it's that time in a fearful situation where people are running out to try to go get all they can, why they can, because of circumstances around them. And then here we have an expert saying consumers are hoarding. What happened to just wanting to withdraw your funds out of your account and put it in your physical possession? And so once again, play on words, but this is all heading somewhere. And so I thought I would share this with you. And what I really want to touch on is why all this is occurring now, outside of the fact that the health scare is a cover-up to provide all types of solutions or solutions for what they want to see occur. And of course, cash is going to be a problem, especially when you have the Federal Reserve who just cut interest rates to basically zero. Therefore, I didn't check, but I imagine when it comes to savings accounts and checking accounts, whatever you were getting, which is already crumbs, is already out the door. And so once again, outside of the insurance side of things, of having your funds in an account for insurance, just for sheer theft of not wanting to lose your funds, there's technically no real reason to have funds in a savings account, because now and eventually by the middle of summer, I'd imagine they're going to probably have to cut rates even further. And we're already at 0.25. So I can see them trying to dip at that negative 0.05, which means basically it's going to cost banks to keep your currency there. So between now and then, I think that there's going to be more of a push to use this health scare to make it acceptable by the public to be willing to say, hey, we're in quarantine. Let's leave physical cash alone for now. We don't know what bills has what. We don't know. So let's just, dial back. Good thing I can use my credit card, my debit card. It's cleaner, it's safer, all that stuff. And people will accept that because, fear is something else. And out of sheer concern for your health, you're going to think that every bill around here has something on it, where all you have to do is, I would imagine spray it, disinfect it, wear gloves or whatever. But it's one of those things where they're playing on us. They're playing on the current high level of fear. I would imagine if you were to measure the amount of fear in this country, we're approaching an all-time high. And so because of that, anything right now, anything the mainstream media tells us or tells you, more than likely, you'll probably like, this expert says it's dangerous. Maybe I should listen. Okay. Yeah, sure. So to shine more on that, here's let me see here. It says here's an article here that's very interesting. It says, do not take a bunch of cash out of the bank because of the health scare. So this is on CNN, mainstream news. It's always good to poke fun at, fake news. But here we got an article saying, don't take cash out the bank. Why? Because of this health scare. So I'm thinking if it's some fresh, crispy bills still in a stack, has never even been in the public's hands, how will those have any type of, situation with them? So I'm just, going back over some articles I think that caught my attention today, because we're going to hear more of that. And it's all a part of it it's all for something that it was already in play well before today. So don't be surprised with it. So my question I want to throw out there to everyone that's listening, we all know the ultimate destination of where this is heading. But in this short term, what do you think about this? What do you guys think about the idea that if you decide to try to give somebody cash, pretty soon they may say, no, I don't accept cash. And so what was it? Just, I think yesterday or the other day, I think it was my wife or my mother or somebody mentioned that one of the restaurants where they go often had a sign that said, we don't accept cash. And I'm thinking whoa, it caught them by surprise because all they typically use is cash. So let me know out there, anybody out there, have you noticed in your neck of the woods, a store, one of your favorite stores, or what, or perhaps even you may not want to touch cash. Let me hear your voice. I'm curious to find out what you think about this. And I'm assuming if it's something that's newly rekindled as far as this desire not to have physical cash, perhaps this media propaganda has taken hold of. You've been bitten by the cashless society bug that the mainstream media is making sure they want everybody to catch as well. So let me know in the chat or give me a call and let me check and see if the phone lines are working. The phone line should be good. Let me make sure I got some volume. Yeah, phone line should be good. Give me a call if anybody have any thoughts they want to share. Because always, it's not a talk show if you have somebody to talk to. And you know how I do it. I can talk to myself over and over again. And so let me get some thoughts here. It says, I like $100 bills. So Spirit King says, cash is just a medium of exchange. It's not like you could control corruption or fakes with paper notes. Same rules. What was that? Same rules with digital. Very true. And so one of the things that is also concerning to me is that physical cash is our last line of offense and defense to having actual physical property that's legal tender, that we can actually, that the majority of people know about and might be willing to accept. And so once physical cash is gone, we're going to be forced to solely use digitals. And of course you have metals, but majority of the population don't really know the importance of metals. So, and it's not really something that's acceptable as of now to go down and actually do a transaction with. So I think it's a big deal that, we're going to witness in this next, year, primarily because of this health scare, the removal of cash, and it's going to be willingly accepted. And that's one of those things where if people knew how this is being positioned to do this, I think there will be some pushback. But due to the fact that the majority of the younger population only know Venmo and all types of cash apps and stuff like that, so that's all the younger generation know. So the older crowd are the only ones that can appreciate this last line of offense and defense of having something physical that to use, even though it doesn't belong to you, it's a contract between the central banks and the government. We happen to use it to receive compensation in, but that's because they want us to pay taxes on it. So digital leaves a transaction trail, 100%. Cash is not hygienic. Says food, medicine, guns, ammo, crypto, and gold will go up like crazy. Tony, you say my number don't work. Ain't that about something? Man, let me try. So I closed it and I opened it. It should be good to go. But yeah, it worked this morning. It worked this afternoon when I had Daryl Schoon on. So it should be good to go. Give it a try again. And if not, like last night or the other night when it didn't work, once it got off air, it worked. I called as well. Man, this is bothering me. This gotta be a YouTube thing. Okay, I see I missed a lot of damn calls. Okay, so try one more time. So it shows that I missed some calls. And let me see if I can get this thing to answer, or to ring rather. So everything looks good. I see I missed some calls. I apologize. And so it's one of them things where, I'm the camera guy, I'm the mic guy, I'm the answer the call guy. So got a lot of jobs on my hands. So I want to actually pull up something while we're here. Let me try to find something. Let me see, what is it? Shoot. Oh, man, I should have had this ready, but I want to try and find one of the visual aids that I put together that paints a better understanding of what I'm trying to get to. Let me try to find it real quick. I probably can't find it. Shoot. I want to share with you something that also plays into this. Shoot, I won't be able to find it. All right, never mind. But if you've noticed that over the last, for those that have been paying attention, if you've noticed over the last every 10 to 15 years, there's a transition of the advancement of technology. And with that advancement comes the dying down of the old system. And so our monetary system itself has gone through a period of solid metals, redeemable metals for paper at a lower amount, and then we have paper, remove the backing. Then we have paper and digits, which we are exiting out of now. And then once paper is gone, then we're going into digital. And so it's the evolution of our currency and how it's been dealt to us. And so that's a part of it. But one of the biggest things I believe is that by the end of this year, before the end of this year, Federal Reserve will probably be flirting with negative rates, interest rates. And there's a game plan for that, because people will then truly realize that, apart from just the insurance aspect, if it's even worth that, there's no reason of holding money in the bank. And between now and then, they want to make sure that cash is gone either voluntarily or by whatever this pandemic situation is currently going underway, to where people will accept it. And so McLovin says negative rates are coming this year. And so I believe every central bank will definitely have negative rates before the Fed. I don't see the Fed leading the way outside of the EU and a couple other countries. So if we look at the central bank interest rates, everybody's, for the most part, flirting with it. So let me look up the central bank rates. Every bank, for the most part, is close to zero, and a few of them are below. Central bank interest rates. Let me see. This is a country's interest bank. Okay, let's see what comes up here. This might be, that's old. All right, so I had something up the other day. Country bank, central bank rates. Let's see, we get this one here. This is, how fresh is this? Okay, this chart, this looks right to me. Okay, so here's a chart we'll put up on the screen here. Shoot, copy this, put it here. And so this will give us an idea as to basically how much time we have to appreciate paper, because between now and the time everybody goes negative, I don't think we're going to have paper the way we do now. So there's going to be some type of announcement from the Treasury. Steve Mnuchin will probably, I throw out August. By August, Steve Mnuchin will probably say something like, we're going to be replacing physical cash because of this. They're going to come out with a statistic or a study by some institution that says that we've now been able, we have to quarantine cash like they did in China. We're going to have to quarantine US dollars. And in doing so, we've noticed that an overwhelming majority of the Federal Reserve notes are contaminated. And so due to a national emergency, we're going to have to, come up with this alternative. And between now and then, as I mentioned the other day, Steve Mnuchin just hired a crypto guy to be a part of the Treasury. So I'd imagine between the time this pandemic runs its full course in the U.S. and they come out with some study saying that all paper currency and the Federal Reserve notes are contaminated at an overwhelming amount, and it's a threat to your health. So people will say, I don't want it because of that. Then they're going to say, as a substitute for that, as a part of your next monthly allowance, of course, the government will be giving us something by the end. We're going to have it directly deposited in your account, but yet, download this app, the treasury.gov app, and, you'll have a QR code and all that stuff. Just, you see, that's where all this is going. So we got a while. So we start off today. People are saying the market of bees, the chip and stuff like that. We got some time to come, because I don't think really they even need to chip us, because we all have cell phones. We will be afraid of physical cash, and everybody who's getting our government allowance, they're not going to forfeit that. So you're going to sign up to that Treasury app or whatever on your phone, and you're going to get your payment. So you see how it's like, some people most likely have to do this. But here we go now. Here's interest rates of the G20 nations. So these are interest rates. So let me make sure everything's up to snuff. And so here's all the interest rates. And so look at all this red. This is all relatively new, March 2020, 2020, 2020. So look at all this red. So these are all, or a lot of the popular banks. And so look at Argentina. Argentina benchmark is 38%. 38%. And so what that means is that the incentive for you to keep your pesos in the bank, they're paying depositors interest to the tune of, 24% interest or something crazy I saw. But yet if the currency is not worth anything, it doesn't really matter how much they're paying you. They're paying you in worthless paper. So and it's amazing in all those countries that have high inflation right now, how the paper they just come out with newer notes all the time, which we won't have that privilege here because we got the reserve currency. But I show you all this to mention how everybody's cutting. And I think most of these countries that are important, the G7 nations, are at zero or near zero. They're going to all go they're going to all go negative before the Federal Reserve goes negative. Because once the Federal Reserve goes negative, that's all she wrote officially. Because it's a slap in the face to you, saying that your time, energy, effort in the form of your national currency is no longer relevant. Like right now, all this stimulating, like today, I read something about the Federal Reserve is now providing liquidity for all the foreign markets that are denominated in dollars, and they're funding nine national central banks. So that's the tune of, eventually going to be trillions upon trillions, which is a slap in the face to everybody who gets up in the morning and goes somewhere to work for some type of income denominated in a currency that they are right now blowing up. They're blowing up the national currency right now in the form of the Federal Reserve note. So yeah, this is what's really going on. And so all along in this current paradigm we're in, cash is still king because it's our last line of offense and defense, because people still can do something with it as of now. But as this thing unwinds, you won't be able to do much with it. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, we're all dead. Yeah, so I imagine the phone lines may not be working, and so I apologize for that. It worked this morning, and so let me try to call it myself and see what I get, because I do want to hear some thoughts of other individuals. So I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, I assume that the text messaging doesn't work either. So let me try to call myself and see if it rings on my end, and if it doesn't, then it is all she wrote. Let me see. So the phone is ringing. Yep. So I hear it ringing, but it's not ringing on my end. So, yep. So it is official. So just let me know in the chat, highlight at Rethinking a Dollar, and I'll definitely try to share your thoughts or whatnot. But yeah, it looks like in the evenings the phone may not be working as much. I don't know. Interest rates will rise. Rolf, when will they rise? Let me know. I would imagine, once everything goes belly up, and like in the prior years during the Volcker era, in order to try to slow down the race towards extreme inflation, I can imagine rates going high at that point. But at that current point, high interest rates usually incentivize people to invest into treasuries. And so it's one of those things where if all central banks are inflating their currencies away, I don't think most people are really concerned with investing when everyone's racing to zero, or everybody's racing to the bare minimum. And at that point, I think the Federal Reserve note will not be a respected currency when this thing runs its course. So I don't really see, you could probably put 38% like Argentina interest rates, but yet 38% of a currency that they're printing to throw at everything. What are you really getting back in return? Like, there's no value there, in my personal opinion. John Adams says, Mike, at RTD, you're one of the smartest and coolest black guys I ever heard and met online. I would love to hang out with you and have a couple of IPAs. John Adams, I appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate that. I'm just a man that just, get inspiring thoughts and like to just spit it out there and see what sticks. And so, and one of the benefits is having a chance to speak to so many people that are way smarter than me and take their thoughts and put it all together and make it my own. Wealthy Man says, question, what should we buy of value with cash if we cannot buy metals? Wealthy Man, great point. And so the problems are plentiful, solutions are scarce. And so what can you buy? That right there, the answer to that question is within that question of value. What is it of value? And so look at what humanity needs most. And so it comes in different forms, different fashions. And so depending on where, like for you individually, depending on where you at, so people's land says seeds. So it's definitely seeds are of value because that is a food supply. If you know what you're doing, you sow some seeds and you can get you can find ways to exchange value. So I would say definitely seeds. What else comes to mind? tools, like a toolkit. Like, you know, if you good with your hands, buying some tools, whatever kind might be good for you. Buying antiques, anything that is older, that can be used and passed along as some type of historical piece, could be of value. You know, rich people buy art. You know, of course, you know, real estate is also one of those things, apart from the, you know, property tax or whatever they may try to tax you. What else? In a speculative sense, I personally, I do believe that in this push to go digital, there will be some winners in the digital cryptocurrency space. So throwing some crumbs at something that you're probably a fan of, you know, you probably, you know, won't go wrong, because I think everything that's denominated in Federal Reserve note will go up because the currency purchasing power is going down. So it's going to require that much more paper to get anything that has relative value. So that's just my 2 cents there. But excuse me, value. What else? Give me some more ideas out there. Stockings, coke, hammer skills, crack. Okay. Somebody asked me today about my thoughts, and they were saying, you know, cannabis. I'm like, when things get tough, people gonna want to smoke. So you can, you know, like Detroit 8 Mile is full of, you know, them, whatever they call them, shops. So yeah. So let me see what else. Give me some more ideas out there. Says, who wants a return-free high-risk asset? Who wants a return-free risk high asset? Return-free high-risk asset. Yeah. So Ripple. So the and I like that the risky, the more risk associated with that particular asset class, you know, it has a potential possibly for the most gains in a normal environment. But yet, if this thing goes belly up, crazy haywires, all bets are off as to how prior performance has occurred in other markets and other times. Like right now, comparing what's going on now to 2008, it's no real comparison in a sense, because now it was a central bank. It was, you know, AIG, Lehman Brothers started it, but now it's like we got the government bailing out all corporations and directing cash on a continuous basis, possibly to the people. And then you got the central bank, the Federal Reserve, that no doubt helped central banks during the last run. But now the central bank is like openly looking to open up all types of lending windows. Like, I don't even know in depth the name of the windows that they have out there. And so, okay, we do got a call. Man, yeah, so it does work. Let's get this call. Man, I don't feel lonely no more. Okay. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? All right, we got somebody out here, but they're not saying nothing. Is anybody there? Going once, going twice. Hello? All right. So the phone line does work, somebody. So somebody give me a call and make sure you say something. It says half dollar got coronavirus. No, he does not. Just his work obligations has changed, which makes it somewhat of a challenge for him to do. He's tied up right now, but he's healthy. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. How you doing? This is Steven. How are you?
I'm doing good, Steven. What's on your mind? Give me some good news tonight.
I am amazed. I've been trying to get through to you, but that's good. Hey, listen, man. This is something that I stumbled upon because I had a friend of mine who kept begging me to unblock him. And this is someone who kept giving me the side eye over the last, I would say, 1 year. And I've been sharing different things. And now all of these things have occurred. They want to talk. But I noticed that now in my contacts, they have a QR code. And I got about 2 weeks ago from Sprint a notification that there was going to be some type of a mandatory download. And, you know, they hit me with something and I downloaded it. But now I notice all my contacts have a QR code. So I think that's something worth checking out, man. Go into your contacts in your phone and see if you have a QR code now associated with all of the people in your phone.
And then you say this is a Sprint, correct?
That's Sprint. Yep.
Okay, so I will definitely do that. So once again, that's interesting because a QR code is an easy way to just scan across your phone and send something. So what are you sending? Either contact information, currency, or something else. So I don't doubt that the telecommunications industry is in on this because they're going to be the vehicles that we use to go back and forth with communicating as well as exchanging with Google Pay, Google App, and all that other crap. So interesting. Yeah. But hey, man, I thank you for calling and sharing that. I'm definitely checking to that more. So also callers or viewers, let me know if you guys noticed something like that as well. So I appreciate you for bringing that to my attention.
Peace.
All right. So yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely some good insight there. So all the contacts have QR codes. That is interesting. All right. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Jason. I'm up here from Anchorage, Alaska.
Jason from where's that again?
Anchorage, Alaska.
Anchorage, Alaska. Oh man, give me some good news from Alaska.
What's that?
I said, yeah, give me some good news from Alaska. What's happening up in Alaska?
Well, I mean, we're just our cases, everything down, restaurants down, people are losing jobs. But you know, the good thing is, at least I still got 3 of my jobs. Income coming in, so I'm just going to hold a space for the people around me.
Yeah.
And also, one thing is Alaska pulled out a yet.
Ooh, I lost him. Hello, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. What I'm saying is, one good thing is still not sold out of silver.
Oh, so Alaska. One good thing is Alaska's not some of the stores there are not sold out of silver.
Correct.
Well, that's a good thing. So you still have some availability to get yourself something. So, yeah, that's good. So that's good news in and of itself for now.
Yeah, for sure. And my question for you is, what is it going to look like when how are we going to be able to use silver and gold? Like for me, for an example, I got about 100 ounces of silver. How would I be able to use it? What can that give purchasing power for?
Good point. Good question there. So it's a little choppy, and so I got your question. I'll answer it off air. But thanks for calling, my friend. Definitely keep us informed of what's going on up in Alaska.
All right, sounds good. I will definitely be in the chat.
Thank you, sir.
Video.
All right, appreciate you. And so, good question there. And so his question is, what is my opinion on what silver will be able to purchase as all this unfolds? And so I was actually watching Mike Maloney tonight, and he was, adamant in saying that 500 ounces was able to buy a nice medium-sized home in 1980. And given the fact that the housing market will have some issues soon, and housing prices will have to come down, I believe, eventually, but metals, gold and silver, will take off. So he was saying that it'll be a lot less metals needed per house. So it's hard to kind of fathom that. Hello. One second. I'm sorry. 1 second. Let me put you on speakerphone so I can hear you. So you get a lot more bang for your metals down the line, according to the way things happen in the past. But yeah, if we're in a dictatorship type of environment, I don't know about that. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, how you doing? This is Brando calling from Los Angeles.
Brandon from Los Angeles. Give me some good news, my friend.
Well, the good news is, based on that last caller that just said he did the update and saw all of the QR codes with the contacts, I can tell you that there's a cryptocurrency called Telcoin out there that is in partnership with all telecommunications companies, the largest one. And they are designed to send mobile money. And I kind of feel like, I know that there's a lot of mayhem going on all over the world, and it's kind of sad to see that people weren't prepared for it. Yeah. And, they're letting the media get the best of them.
Yeah.
But, there is opportunity to gain. And it has a lot to do with silver and, precious metals, but also cryptocurrency. You have to embrace the new technology. I know, you guys are, people don't like that the central banks are maybe involved with this. But, we were put here on Earth at this given moment for a reason.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that we can do. We can't fight the system.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is embrace it. the coin out there is Coin is very cheap right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just excited because I see a lot of opportunity to gain.
Yeah.
And if you had your chips in the right place and there's still time, you know, you could still benefit off of what's about to happen because we are going to a cashless society. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing that anybody can do to stop that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That we're living in. But, you know, I really appreciate what you do. I appreciate what you do for the culture.
Thank you, my friend.
Everybody needs to hear what you have to offer to the community and to YouTube and to all the other spaces. And I look forward to you and your voice. And hopefully one day I can meet you in person, man. You got to come talk somewhere.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
See you, Mike.
Yeah, I told myself I was going to try to get out more this year, but once again, due to this little health scare, I'm not able to get out like I like to. Even though I did have a trip like booked this week, I'm supposed to be on the beach somewhere with some palm trees, but I had to cancel it. So, well, as all this blow over, man, definitely I'm gonna try to do more stuff out and get a chance to shake some hands and meet some people. But I appreciate you calling, my friend.
It's always 2021. Appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
I will. Be good.
All right, man.
Oh, all right. Got too many. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hi there. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm Abe. I'm Patrick, and I'm calling from Virginia.
Patrick from West Virginia. Give me some good news, Patrick.
Excuse me? I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. Give me some good news.
Well, I'm in Virginia. And, things aren't actually as bad as they seem about now. The stores aren't actually closed. The shelves, some of them are still stocked. Mm-hmm. There's a few that are actually there on the shelves, mm-hmm. but it's actually not bad yet. You know, I know it's just beginning to storm around the eye of the storm yet, mm-hmm. but that's not really what I wanted to call in about. I guess that's my good news that you wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about crypto and actually inform a bit of your audience about how crypto isn't actually just as bad as paper, because that's what I'm seeing a lot of. It's not. Paper are completely different things. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, you can have a crypto paper wallet, but it's not the same. You know, there are mixers, there are private coins, there are many different other applications that integrate with crypto. Yeah. And we're talking about emerging asset class. It's actually going to be backed by gaming, backed by industry, mm-hmm. Digital architecture, goods and services as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is practically the currency of reality. I'm not for sure if any of your users or anybody that actually watches what you do on YouTube has ever put on a VR headset and actually stepped foot into a realm that they can completely control, create a house, some friends over, actually shake their hands, say hello, sing, and actually dance, with them in virtual reality. And then quite possibly in the future, reach into crypto wallet, pull out some crypto funds and give it to them. And then they could put it in their wallet and actually take that funds and spend it in reality, life. Yeah. So
yeah. Hey, man, like those are all real scenarios that I believe are a part of the equation. So just, I did a video a while back about, like Internet of Things, virtual reality, augmented reality, all types of technologies out there that have a lot of promise and things I'm interested in finding out more about myself. But then again, you got the powers that be that tends to use that stuff for evil. And it's that thing where the ultimate goal is to connect us all to the cloud directly, where they want direct access to our brains. Like I'm watching all that stuff about connecting to the cloud directly, where we don't need cell phones. We can download information. And so that's where all that stuff is heading. And to me, that's spooky as hell. And that's some stuff that once you connect to the cloud and you're part of the server, their server, ain't no coming back. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm not like out here promoting technology the way I do.
Cryptocurrency and IPFS isn't actually connecting to anybody's cloud. Because let's be real here, there is no cloud. It's just somebody else's computer.
Right.
Somebody else's own server. Their actual property. You know what I mean? IPFS is a shared unity collective of people's machines that doesn't rely on a central server. That's the future of these applications that we're talking about whenever we talk about cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I recommend that your audience look into the protocol of Filecoin, because that lays down the entire grid and the guidelines for moving forward in a decentralized fashion, hosting decentralized applications, as well as integrating your personal sites with decentralized applications.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about it.
Well, as
it's
always,
actually meant to free us from the technocratic oligarchs and to provide power back to us. And that's the reason why you don't see this being mentioned on the mainstream media. You just won't ever. They don't want to talk about crypto. They don't want to talk about IPFS, BIPFS. They just won't. It's just a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate you for calling and sharing your thoughts. And so you got Filecoin and Tailcoin. So we get dropped a couple of dimes out there. I appreciate that. So give some information for people to check into. So let me get to some more calls, but I appreciate you calling in, my friend.
All right, take it easy.
Yeah, be good.
Peace.
Oh, hello? Hello?
Mike, what's up? Tony from Oakland.
Tony from Oakland. How you doing, Tony? Finally got you through, my friend. Give me some good news.
Well, I'm alive.
That's good.
they got us hold down out here, man, and it ain't pretty, but we'll survive.
Yeah,
but, we'll survive. We'll keep our spirits up, keep our heads up, and move forward.
So real quick, give me the rundown as to the lock-in or whatever it's called. Like, when did it come about, and what does it look like? What does it feel like?
Thursday, the kids had school. Friday, they told us that we were going to be out of school. Saturday, they said no more than 500 people gathering. Sunday, they said no more than 10 people gathering. And they basically shut down everybody's business. There's no San Francisco's bare. There's nothing going on in San Francisco. I put in the Google Maps just trying to get to San Francisco, see what it would look like at the busiest day of traffic, which normally takes you about 3 hours to get into from where I'm at, and it was half an hour. So there's nothing going on in San Francisco. I'm in Oakland, just on the other side of the Bay Bridge, and it's just a deserted town, man. It's really, they've got people so scared to even go out the house, and then when you go out the house, it's through guilt that people are looking at you like, oh, you're out. You're not supposed to be doing that. There's people walking around. I mean, there's people in the street. There's people driving down the streets all day long. Yeah. But as far as job, everybody's like, nah, I ain't even going to take the chance. And which is really unfortunate, because they're forcing people to shut down their business. And I think it's all part of the plan. Yeah. Because there's no money. We are in a no liquidity situation, and whatever they got to do in order to stop the liquidity from flowing, so they can print the liquidity in order to get it flowing again. That's why central banks are doing it to each other. They're printing it so fast and so heavy that get your Bitcoin while you can, get your cryptocurrencies while you can. But when that dollar starts to sell off, get out of that stuff. Yeah. And get to the real stuff, which is gold and silver. Now, let me ask you a question. That's the only thing that's going to survive this.
Now, and so living in California, it's already extremely expensive. And so as of now, it looks like, your president wants to give you $1,000, like I think maybe, once every other month, or depending on how long this crisis lasts. So what will $1,000 per adult and $500 per child actually do for someone living in California?
It could put gas in your car.
Yeah.
most the lowest rent you're going to find out here in California is going to be $2,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment.
Damn.
That's the cheapest you're going to find. Yeah. And it ain't going to be in the best neighborhood.
Now, a part of that is, like, they're going to suspend payments, suspend utilities, and all, like, mortgages. Like, a part of some act the other day, like, landlords and how, the landlords or whatever, they can't, kick you out and all that type of stuff. So all the payments are going to be frozen, according to what I'm hearing. So that 1,000 might just be able to go towards food or whatever else or whatever. So, but if there's even food in the grocery stores out there like that, so
there's no meat, there's no paper towels, there's no toilet paper everywhere you go.
you can find canned goods. Everything else is pretty much in stock. But if you didn't get it like 3 weeks ago, ain't no getting it. At least those 3 items. And I was at business Costco. I was able to get it because not many people know about it. I was at business Costco and was able to get some hand sanitizer type stuff. But they had the pallet, and I couldn't even put the pallet down fast enough before people started grabbing it.
Yeah.
There is no paper towels. There is no toilet paper. There's no wet wipes. There's no baby food, and everybody just stocked up and bunkering down.
Whew. Well, hey man, so it's just a matter of time for it all, works its way towards the middle of the country, and so one of the things that really concerns me is that the way this is being handled, as far as the amount of fear, the problem, reaction, solution. Reaction is they trying to scare the hell out of everybody. And I'm like, what happened to just tell people to protect yourself, wear your mask, wear your glasses. And if you're younger and good health, perhaps you can be out. But if you're older, your health isn't that good, you might want to be quarantined yourself. But yet to just shut down everything. Like we got Bill Ackerman, a billionaire, talking about he needed to shut down the country for 30 days. Like, how do you just shut the country down for 30 days? And expect to just pick up the 31st day, or like what the hell? So,
they told us that we were able to. Our initial thing is we can go back to school around April the 7th. I don't look for April 7th to be open, but they told us that we'll be back up in action by April 7th.
Yeah.
I don't think that $1,200 is going to do it, and that's $1,200 for an individual adult and $500 for a kid.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to do it. Then they're going to have to print some more money out of that, because you know as well as I do, it's going to take some time to get back up to speed once you shut everything down like that. And there's some places that aren't going to be open. There was a Chinese restaurant that we frequent. Went in there just before they did the shutdown, and they said they aren't going to make it. There's no way they can make it, even though it's some of it's takeout.
So my thing is, why even insult the American people with saying $1,200? Like that's going to really do something, because California is one thing, Detroit's one thing, New York's another thing, and then they're giving billions to the corporations. Like, why not just come correct, give every adult 5 G's as a starter kit, and another 500 for the kids, and overdo it so at least you'll butter us up. It might not buy nothing. They running this damn thing into the ground anyway. So might as well go big with it, like why just go big with it, give everybody a meal piece, and just get this thing going.
It may get there, but I just want to say this. I want to let other colors go. If they cared about you, they would give you more than that $1,200. The budget that they set aside for the American people was only $500 billion, but they told the banks they'll loan them money at zero and as much as they want, and there's no limit. And then the businesses, they told them there's no limit either. So, that tells you right there what they think about the American people.
Right. 100%, man. Hey, right, Tony, appreciate you, my friend. Be blessed out there.
Will do.
All right,
Thank
Ross.
you.
Yep.
Bye.
Man, that's real. That is real in the field. All right, people. We are approaching an hour. I apologize for not being able to get to everybody's call. We'll take this last call, and then I saw she wrote. All right. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. This is Joe from Florida. How's it going, Mike?
I'm doing good, my friend. Give me some good news.
Hey, man. I don't have any good news for you. I just saw on the Drudge report, the governor says they're going to be 56% of the people in California is going to be infected within the next 8 weeks. It said they grounded 55,000 airplanes from American Airlines, just grounded 55,000 flights. And it says they got tens of thousands of people from the National Guard on standby to be called in. I saw videos on YouTube and they're just busting in all these military vehicles, thousands of them on train car. And I don't know if you get a chance to go to the grocery store. I went to a Walmart last night, supposed to be a 24-hour Walmart. All the store shelves are picked clean. I try to go to the bank. The bank says all the computer systems are shut down, including the ATM, and they're saying that the unemployment rates are so high the computer systems are freezing and shutting down, so you can't even file for unemployment. They said it's going to be unemployment over 20%. I'm going to let you go because I got bad reception. but click on the Drudge Report on the front page. You'll see what I'm talking about.
All right, I will do so, my friend. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate you. Be blessed out there. Wow. Man, that is, that's one of the things where I don't doubt it. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds unbelievable what's going on, but it's real. Joshua, I appreciate that love offering to the channel, my friend. God bless you as well. So with that being the case, people, we are at an hour. And so I know that everybody, have something to do this evening. And other than that, man, let's just stay prayed up and just, trust God that he will do what he has already planned to do for each and every one of us. I believe we are still within his will, even though we don't understand what's going on around us. And just keep our heads up, man. Find something good. There's some good out here. You got to go find it. Good news is not going to fall in your lap. You got to create your own good news. And so that's why I start off by asking people, well, give me some good news. So everybody got something, just got to go find it. But with that being the case, that is all she wrote. Be blessed, be safe. And I will not be taking this call. So I appreciate you. Give me a call tomorrow night. Let's do it again. All right, look at this last call in. I feel bad now. I lost it. All right. So that is all she wrote. Cut the volume off. See you guys later. Peace. Justin, thank you for that love offering.